Guys, I'm pretty well pissed off with healthcare in Southwest Virginia. You know, you open up an urgent care and they can't diagnose the basic shit. I had to go to urgent care. I was hurting in my chest, hurting in my back. I was hurting in my lower abdomen, and I was on my way to work. I started my vehicle, got out, and couldn't straighten up. I get to the hospital and they want to get to the urgent care, because the urgent care is a fucking joke to me personally. I get to the urgent care and they want to diagnose me with a stomach ulcer. I go to the hospital and they do an EKG, rule out heart problems, which I knew it wasn't what it was. And they done an ultrasound and found out my gallbladder was about ready to burst. So they immediately checked me in for emergency surgery. At which point I laid there for 3 more days until I become jaundiced. I was pissing blood. My whites of my eyes was turning yellow. My skin was turning yellow. And they had to get another doctor to come in and do the surgery because the doctor that they had on call supposedly has a drinking problem. And I'm not mentioning any names, but, they have since severed ties with him because of so many issues. So he comes in and explains that, he's going to do one small incision and it shouldn't be that big a deal. Well, I go in for surgery, they put me to sleep. I wake up, I'm cut out of hell. And I've got 5 or 6 holes in me. The gallbladder ruptured when they tried to get it out, so they had to go in and clean it up. And my wife had a disc rupture in her back years ago, and they had all these tests that they wanted to do, and it ain't nothing but a fucking money scheme for the insurance, because the insurance is what runs everything. Everybody's worried about who's running the country, and everybody's worried about the police and shit, but they ain't worried about who's running your fucking insurance company. They're not worried about who's running your fucking health care. Who tells you what doctor you can see, what you can't see, what procedure you can have done, what you can't have done, what medications you can and cannot have. So, with my wife, she had to be taken all the way to UK for back surgery. And fast forward years later, she's having problems with her left leg, so the doctor said she needed surgery on her ankle, and which I wasn't too keen about, and I advised her against it. She had surgery on her ankle, and it didn't improve anything because it wasn't her ankle. So we went back to UK here just a few days ago, and we've had to go all the way to Johnson City, Tennessee again because, like I said, here in Southwest Virginia, there is no fucking quality health care. There really isn't. You either have HMG or you have Ballad. Ballad wants to charge you 3 times for any procedure that you do over HMG. And that's just a fact. Well, fast forward from that, and now my nephew is sick. He's been taken to two different urgent cares, and both of which has done nothing for him. But they'll expect to be paid for that. They've done nothing, but don't expect to be paid for that. So his father took him all the way to Johnson City, and he's got RSV and strep throat. And they couldn't even tell you that in urgent care. So what fucking good is urgent care? If they can't tell you something that basic, what good are they? And, you know, if you've got kids, you know how children are. He stuck a piece of candy in his right ear and was taken to a local hospital, which I like to call a dog pound, because that's about the way they are. Well, they wanted to put him to sleep just to get a piece of candy out of your ear, which I have never ever seen anyone do to a child. And the nurse was, or the doctor there was just rude as hell. And rude to the child, rude to the parents. And if I'd been there, she would have probably been shitting her teeth, because I don't put up with that. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm paying you for fucking service. And you're not going to treat my goddamn grandchild like shit and me pay you for it. That's just the way it is. So they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it out. They told them to wait on the next shift. And luckily, one of the good nurses told my daughter that the next shift was even worse than this shift. So they had to make an appointment with the ENT, and then had to wait on it to be approved by the insurance. So for 2 weeks, he walked around with a piece of candy stuck in his ear. And long story short, we took him to this ENT. The ENT was very professional, very nice, and it took him all of about 2 minutes to solve the problem. You know, if you don't want to do your job and you're only in it for the fucking money, then just become a whore. It'd be a whole lot simpler and a whole lot easier for, the public to put up with. Because if I'm ever in a doctor's office and my grandchild is talked to that way, I will go to jail. And some damn doctor will need a goddamn good dentist.